Now at 9, details on a lease signing disagreement between Chanute City Commissioners and the Safari Museum and Library. Plus, how $1 million grant is helping Southeast Kansas schools grow their own fresh produce. And an elementary school in Parsons, Kansas unveils its new outdoor classroom.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. The city of Chanute, Kansas is battling with the public library and the Safari Museum concerning facility repairs. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has their story.
Up here is our most recent damage from last summer from the HVAC system.
Director of the Chanute Public Library, Jenna Lawrence, is concerned about the building's current HVAC system. Not only it is damaging books.
Sometimes those pipes leak or those pans overflow, and they have repeatedly rained down on all of the books upstairs in our children's department.
But it also caused the library to close on hot summer days.
It was like 90 degrees just downstairs and then 100 and more upstairs, and that's not a workable situation.
Now she knows the system needs to be fixed. The library and the Safari Museum operate in a city-owned building, rent-free.
The current agreement was signed 33 years ago. The understanding is that the library and the museum don't need to pay a lease because they would be responsible for the maintenance of the inside of the building.
But the groups say they can't afford the estimated $1 million cost to replace the malfunctioning HVAC system. The city then proposed a new agreement.
They're leasing from us and they'll pay a set amount each month and we'll fix everything, just like a normal rental of a house or a building or something like that from a landlord.
City Commissioner says that if the museum and the library sign the new agreement, the city would be responsible for fixing the HVAC. But this is not what the library and the museum directors and board members understood from the city meeting.
What was understood was that the library and museum would be responsible for all upkeep, which included the HVAC system. So if that's what the city commission thought, that is not what was communicated to the museum or the library.
If the library and the museum need to pay for the repair, they will need to come up with a plan of action.
We've talked about taking out loans from the bank and from several different banks because this is going to be a huge project. And we've talked about using state historical tax credits to help pay with some of that.
In Chanute, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
The library board agreed they will sign the lease, but the museum still has not decided, and they'll meet again on Thursday. Now, this discussion is not on the agenda for the city's Monday meeting. And Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at your forecast.
Well, we got some good amounts of rain last night. Very electric, very loud night across the region. Showers and thunderstorms through the morning. And then sunshine popped out this afternoon. Popped us up to 83. Average high is 80. Record high 99. Temps pretty good. Most of us are sitting low to mid 70s out there right now. Look at where some of the heaviest rain was. So Pittsburgh into Cherokee County, about 1.5 inches in Joplin, and then from Miami, Grand Lake, into McDonald County, all in general got 3 to 5 inches of rain. We look pretty quiet right now. There's not a whole bunch going on, and pretty quiet as we go through the night, but there are going to be a few isolated showers that try to pop up late tonight into tomorrow morning, but most of you will end up staying dry. Better chances for thunderstorms tomorrow night. We're going to look at that here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. A Coffeyville, Kansas man will face a jury trial for the May 2022 shooting death of another man. Court has set the trial of David Allen Jackson for next March. Jackson is charged with 1 count of premeditated first-degree murder in the fatal shooting of Melvin Simpson Jr. at Jackson's home in Coffeyville. Jackson, who has been in the Montgomery County Jail since the discovery of Simpson's death in May of 2022, plans to represent himself in the jury trial. Well, a former Coffeyville minister is charged with the rape of a minor. William Keith Dodd, who's the former pastor of the Lewick Church of God, was formally charged with 2 counts of raping a youth on 2 occurrences between January 1st and September 11th of this year. If convicted of the charges, Dodd could face lifetime imprisonment with no chance of parole. Dodd remains in the Montgomery County Jail with bonds set at $250,000. Well, Joplin organization dedicated to helping children facing abuse and neglect celebrates its 20th anniversary.
2, 3.
In their 20 years of service, the Children's Haven has provided temporary shelter to more than 8,000 local children. This milestone was commemorated with a ribbon-cutting ceremony and the unveiling of their new pinwheel sculpture. The pinwheel is the national symbol of child abuse and neglect prevention. For the Children's Haven, it represents hope for the community.
2, 3.
Today, the Children's Haven celebrates their past and continued service to local families. One Pittsburgh nonprofit organization was awarded more than $1 million by the state. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more on how it will benefit area schools.
Community Green Farms is one of 5 nonprofits across the state that was awarded a $1,052,000 grant by the Kansas Department for Children and Families, and they're building farm classrooms.
It's very new, and it's unlike really any foundation in the United States. We are taking a indoor container farm and turning it into a farm classroom.
The first farm classroom started at Pittsburgh High School in 2022 and has been growing ever since.
This will allow us to finish 7 farm classrooms at 7 counties in the state of Kansas.
Planning all of these different skills that these farm classrooms can teach, but also they're growing a whole bunch of food for their school. Healthy food, nutritious food that schools buy a lot of lettuce for their salad bars, and now it'll be student-grown lettuce grown right there on campus.
The amount of produce grown in the farm classrooms is enough to support backpack programs while taking up little space.
Essentially, these farm classrooms have about 250 hanging vertical towers inside of them. Every single one of those towers can grow 8 to 10 heads of lettuce at a time. So this little box is basically the equivalent of a 2-acre lettuce farm just scrunched inside of a shipping container.
With farm classrooms like these, students can learn about agriculture and nutrition despite the weather conditions. Although parts of southeast Kansas are experiencing drought, students can still grow fresh produce.
We want to do this in every single county in the state of Kansas. And so next 10 counties, phase 2, we're just going to move north a little. And we're just going to start picking away at the state until we've done all 105 Kansas counties.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Though the program has been running since last year, the grant only goes into effect on October 1st. Well, students at Parsons, Kansas Elementary are going to be learning in the fresh air. Meadowview Elementary today hosted a ribbon cutting for its new outdoor classroom area. It was paid for by a donation from Parsons native and former director of the FCC, Ajit Pai, as well as the Parsons Area Community Foundation. Pai was there to cut the ribbon.
My 8th grade teacher, Miss Veranda, had mentioned that, we're thinking about building an outdoor classroom and we could use the funds for it. And so I had a little bit of money when I left the FCC to donate, and I thought, I want to donate to my elementary school. Nothing against the universities or I attended or my high school, but I've always thought that elementary schools have a really important part in the educational system, and I wanted to do my own small part to help advance that for the community.
And work on the outdoor classroom finished in April. Well, folks in Webb City today showed their cardinal pride at the annual Paint the Town Red Homecoming event. There was a community bonfire at the middle school football field. There's also games, prizes, and a hot dog cookout. It's part of the high school's festivities ahead of this Friday's homecoming football game.
We're out here today to celebrate Webb City, and it's just rich history and tradition. Like, we all love to come out here. Webb City sports has always been a big thing for decades and decades. And we're just out here to have fun and then commemorate John Roderick Field here in a little bit.
The community aspect of everybody gets to come together. We're all celebrating Webb City. I just love the community and just the love aspect that we all have for one goal and one team. It's fantastic to see.
Before the bonfire, there was a parade that started at the corner of 1st and Main and ended on Stadium Drive. Well, coming up, in honor of Child Passenger Safety Week, we'll have 5 tips for keeping your kids safe in vehicles. The World Health Organization says 76 million deaths could be averted by the year 2050 if treatment for high blood pressure improves. A report from the WHO shows about 80% of people with hypertension are not being adequately treated, and half of all people who have the condition do not even know it. Hypertension can lead to stroke, heart attack, kidney damage, and other serious issues. More than 700 children were killed in car accidents in the U.S. in 2021. Of those killed, more than 36% were not properly buckled up, and that's according to the CDC. In honor of Child Passenger Safety Week, Mandy Gaither has 5 steps to keep kids safe in a vehicle.
They can greatly increase the chances of survival in a crash, but car seats have to be properly installed. Safe Kids Worldwide says 5 steps can save a life. First, select the proper seat. Check labels to make sure it's the right one for your child. It varies based on age, weight, and height. And always follow manufacturer's instructions not only for the car seat, but also for your vehicle.
The most important thing is to figure out how your either seatbelts or lower anchors lock.
Next, make sure your child is facing the proper direction. Keep babies rear facing as long as possible until they've outgrown height and weight requirements.
The way that they're made, they help protect the baby's head, neck, and spinal cord until they get a little bit bigger.
Then move on to forward facing with a harness, followed by a booster seat until the child can fit into a seat belt. Third, focus on location. The back seat is always safest, as airbags can be dangerous to a child in a car seat. Next, adjust the harness appropriately. It should lay flat.
Those straps should come out about right at the shoulder level or slightly below for rear facing. If we have forward facing car seats with a harness, you want that right at or slightly above.
But follow manufacturer's guidelines, as the safest fit can vary with the car seat. And finally, make the seat snug.
Where you can't pinch the straps at the harness, and make sure there are no gaps in the rest of the harness either.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, Safe Kids Worldwide says that as the weather starts to get cooler, remember to take off coats before putting your child in a car seat. The organization says it's important to not have bulky clothing beneath the harness, since it'll affect the snugness of your child's seat. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later a Webb City High School and Missouri Southern baseball standout is promoted to the AAA.
Well, we got showers, we got thunderstorms for us last night, and then we broke out. We got the sunshine during the afternoon. It actually turned out to be a pretty good afternoon. Temperatures warmed up into the lower 80s for highs. Now, rain. We needed the rain. Some areas picked up some very heavy amounts of rain. Other areas, not that much, but just shy of an inch at Joplin. That's just since midnight. We got most of Joplin got about an inch and a half, 2.16 for the month. But still, we have a deficit of about 10 inches. 71 in Stockton, 71 in Neosho, 74 at Grand Lake, Pittsburgh 72. We have Oswego at 74, Chanute at 75. Let's go outside. 7th range line, 73. Visibility is good. East, southeasterly winds at about 5 to 10. Not a whole bunch going on here for us. We're pretty quiet. We do have a few showers to our south, so we may see a couple little showers starting to pop up northeastern Oklahoma late tonight. Most of us are going to end up staying dry, but we have a wave across the Rockies will affect us tomorrow night. Then behind it, we have another wave which will affect us late Saturday and into Sunday. So we have numerous rounds of rain that we still have to watch. All right, let's go through time for you tonight. Clouds pick up. Here's 5 o'clock in the morning. As we go through the morning hours, you can see a couple little tiny spotty showers trying to get going. Again, most of you dry. Let's go to about the noon hour. Some spotty showers, southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. As we work into the afternoon, we get into lower 80s, but we are going to have a lot of cloud cover by the time we get into late in the day. By the evening, 7:30, scattered thunderstorms start picking up, especially in our western counties, and then increase as we go through the evening hours. So tomorrow night could be a little bit on the loud side. Once again, I'm not expecting anything too strong or severe, but we are going to see scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow night. Kind of dying off late tomorrow night. We may see a few more flare up early Friday morning. So we'll start the day with scattered thunderstorms. And then once we get into Friday afternoon, we look pretty good heading into high school football, which is good news. And then, of course, we'll watch the other round, which is going to head in as we go into the weekend. So rainfall, we got to see where the heaviest pops up tomorrow. But again, a lot of areas can pick up 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. There may be some spots that get 1 inch or 1.5 inches, kind of like what we did see during the overnight hours last night. 63 to start tomorrow, 78 by noon, 83 by 4. We're going to go for a high temp of 84 degrees. We're going to go 81 on Friday with those morning storms. And then evening storms move in Saturday night into Sunday morning. And then we dry out a bit as we head into next week. But temperatures through the next 10 days looking pretty good.
I know, you can't complain about that.
No, not at
Giving
all.
our AC a break?
Well, mine's still running.
Well, yeah, of course, but like it's not running.
Running continuous, yes.
It can get there and hold it
Yeah.
at this temperature.
Well, I need a new AC. We've been talking about this.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I told you what you need to do. All right, well, coming up, no end in sight.
Day 6 of the UAW strike and still no plan to get thousands of union members back to work. I'm Grady Trimble with Fox Business in Wayne, Michigan. I'll have the latest coming up.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says it's time to put a pause on interest rate hikes. The Fed's decision comes as inflation is cooling. The current rate is at 3.7%, way down from last summer's peak. However, the latest pause in rate hikes may be temporary. Powell signaled another boost could happen this fall if needed. With change, of course, for the Biden administration. White House officials are no longer traveling to Detroit to help with the auto strikes. Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble has the story.
Another day on the picket line for some 13,000 workers striking at auto plants in Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio. Why are you out here?
More money, better benefits, shorter work hours, better life.
And the United Auto Workers Union says more members could walk out if it doesn't reach a deal by Friday with the big three automakers, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. All three say they're negotiating in good faith, yet progress in the talks is slow.
We're just asking for, just to be fair, you know? That's all we're asking for. I mean, cost of living is outrageous nowadays.
The Biden administration had plans to send acting Labor Secretary Julie Su and senior White House advisor Gene Sperling to help with the talks this week. It scrapped those plans, however, after the UAW said it didn't need the help. UAW President Shawn Fain doesn't seem to want any politicians involved. When news broke that former President Donald Trump was planning to visit Michigan next week, Fain released a statement saying, quote, "Every fiber of our union is being poured into fighting the billionaire class and an economy that enriches people like Donald Trump at the expense of workers." UAW! Striking workers are standing by Fain's negotiating strategy, many of them telling us they trust him and are ready for the long haul if the walkouts continue past Friday.
I'm prepared. Whether they do it or not, I'm prepared.
We're already seeing the ripple effects of the strike. The automakers and some of their suppliers have laid off a combined thousands of workers. In Wayne, Michigan, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Up next, we'll learn about a breakthrough in efforts to study the genome of an extinct animal species. Scientists have recovered genetic material from an extinct species. In a study published in the scientific journal Genome Research, scientists said the RNA molecules extracted from the thylacine, or the Tasmanian tiger, will help them learn more about the animal's genetic makeup. The thylacine disappeared about 2,000 years ago from virtually everywhere, except the island of Tasmania, where it was eventually hunted to the point of extinction. Scientists said while de-extinction was not the goal of the research, could help with efforts to bring back the animal in some form. Interesting. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. The inventor of the Ring doorbell is starting up a new project in the Show Me State. Plus, lawmakers grill Attorney General Merrick Garland over claims the Biden administration has been weaponizing the DOJ. The inventor of the Ring doorbell is working on a new creation, this time to help protect people living in apartment buildings. And he's going to start his new project from the ground up by opening a new headquarters in the St. Louis, Missouri region. Lauren Traeger has more.
So we're moving it from New York City to right here in beautiful St. Louis.
This 1960s warehouse in Olivet is getting a glow up thanks to an inventor who's always had his eyes on the future.
I always like fixing things up. Right? That's just I'm a tinkerer. I'm an inventor, so I love that kind of stuff.
Jamie Siminoff's the tinkerer behind a company that's now become a household name.
Hey man, don't do it.
He founded Ring, the smart doorbell, camera, and security company that has captured many a crook in the act. The company sold to Amazon for $1 billion. His latest venture, Latch, will soon be called Door.com.
We build locks for apartment buildings and then the software around it to run that better and give a better resident experience for the people living there.
And it will all soon be headquartered right here.
So this will be our corporate headquarters, warehouse, return merchandise, some quality assurance work, sales, finance. So we're going to really just put all of the physical plant stuff here in St. Louis.
The building's getting a complete refresh. Southern Comfort whiskey used to be made and bottled here. The building's housed other businesses too. Siminoff says he knew the St. Louis region would now be their new home.
I love St. Louis. I love Missouri. I ended up getting a farm north of here and flying through St. Louis and found this area.
Though St. Louis gets a bad rap sometimes, he says, he knows better.
Yeah, amazing people here, diverse workforce. And I think that, between cost of living and that, it's one of the best places in the U.S. to have a business.
Not bad. Door.com is expected to open its new headquarters by the end of the year. Well, the looming government shutdown is still looming, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy continues to try to rally Republicans to back a plan brokered between the House Freedom Caucus and the more moderate Main Street Caucus over the weekend. However, more than a dozen far-right Republican lawmakers have issues with the proposed plan, saying it needs deeper spending cuts attached. The head of the United Nations hosts a climate meeting. China and the U.S., the world's top two emitters, were not included. The Climate Ambition Summit is billed as a no-nonsense forum where only leaders who have made concrete plans to achieve net zero greenhouse emissions are allowed to speak. While the Biden administration's climate envoy, John Kerry, is not permitted to deliver remarks, California Governor Gavin Newsom did address the crowd. Well, a heated morning on Capitol Hill as Attorney General Merrick Garland has his first oversight hearing with Republicans in charge, and they're asking questions about the Justice Department overseeing what they claim are political prosecutions. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more from Washington.
The testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God.
Attorney General Merrick Garland face-to-face with his toughest critics Wednesday.
They don't trust you. The reason is because they're witnessing every day a politicized Justice Department in a two-tiered system of justice.
As House Republicans use a routine oversight hearing to question America's top prosecutor on claims about the, quote, weaponization of his Justice Department.
Extreme MAGA Republicans have poisoned our vital oversight work and used their power to stage one political stunt after another.
Garland's hearing comes at an unrivaled time for the Justice Department.
A lot has been said about the Justice Department, about who we are and what we are doing.
It's overseeing two cases against former President Donald Trump and now another against the sitting president's son, Hunter Biden.
There is not one set of laws for the powerful and another for the powerless, one for the rich and another for the poor, one for Democrats and another for Republicans.
Garland faced heated questions from House GOP members about its investigations into President Trump they claim are political, and if Hunter Biden was given special treatment with a plea deal that fell apart earlier this year.
You don't recollect whether you've talked with anybody at FBI headquarters about an investigation into the president's son?
I don't believe that I did.
Garland defended the integrity of his office, saying he is not the president's lawyer or Congress's lawyer, but the American people's. Garland's testimony comes just a week after House Republicans launched an impeachment inquiry into the president. The White House claims it's baseless, but Fox is told the Oversight Committee plans to hold its first impeachment hearing next Thursday. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
A bit later, doctors in Mexico say they've examined alleged alien remains. We'll learn what they found.
Well, it turned out to be a nice afternoon after we got showers. We got thunderstorms during the morning hours, some heavy amounts of rain, and then the evening has been fantastic. Look at our temps, anywhere from 68 in Monette. We're at 72 in Anderson. We go a little bit farther west. Chanute 75, Anita is sitting at 73. Looking at range line, heading south, 73. Visibility is good. East, southeasterly winds, light 5 to 10. Pretty much clear skies. We got a few little clouds out there, but in general, we are looking pretty good. All that rain that we had last night into the morning hours, that wave rotating across parts of Illinois, down through parts of Tennessee. Back here at home, we may get a few light little scattered showers just to our south, trying to lift through late tonight into the morning hours. But our better chances for rain are going to be with our next two waves. Wave 1, right out here from the western high plains into the Rockies. Wave 2 is building out across northern parts of Nevada. So we are going to have at least 2 more rounds of showers and thunderstorms before we end the week. All right, let's step through time. I'm going to stop at 5 o'clock in the morning, mid 60s. Couple little spotty showers trying to pop up in our southern counties. Here's 8:30 in the morning. You can see a few more trying to get going right around the noon hour. So most of you are going to be dry. A lot of clouds, random spotty shower. As we get into the afternoon, high temps into lower 80s. And then as we get into tomorrow evening, so we're moving to about 7 or 8 o'clock, some scattered thunderstorms on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. But these really kind of flare up as we get into mid to late evening toward the midnight hour. Some of these storms could be a little bit stronger, not expecting severe, but yeah, they could be a little bit on the stronger side. Let's continue through time tomorrow night. Scattered thunderstorms continue into Friday morning. Here's 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I think once we get into Friday afternoon, most of these will dissipate. Then we look pretty good as we go through the evening hours, high school football, and then heading into Saturday morning. So rainfall potential, we got to see where the heaviest showers and thunderstorms pop up. But this isn't a model estimate of what could happen. It just gives you an idea. A lot of areas, a quarter, half an inch. We may get some areas that pick up an inch by the time we get into Friday morning. Day planner for you tomorrow, 63 to start, 78 by noon, 83 by 4, high temp of 84 degrees. We also need to watch the weekend. We have a severe threat, which is going to move in. This is going to be mainly late Saturday evening, Saturday night, and then through the overnight hours, but something we'll monitor over the next few days. 84 for us tomorrow, 81 on Friday, 87 Saturday, so heating up a little bit. 80 on Sunday, drying out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then a few hit and miss showers late next week.
Yeah, but all in all, great temperatures. We need the chances of rain, so yeah, we'll take it.
Looks pretty good.
Look, that stretch of nice.
I know.
Good description. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up in sports, a Webb City and Missouri Southern baseball alum is making waves in the minor leagues. Plus highlights from a soccer doubleheader tonight between NEO and Murray State. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
NEO men's and women's soccer have followed a similar path so far this season. Out of the gates, they got in trouble before getting their legs underneath them recently. The men got their first win 2 games ago before earning a tie last time out at Connors State. The women won their first game of the season in that Connors State game. Lady Norse in some trouble again early, down 3-0 in the first half to Murray State. Murray State wins possession, then Mercedes Stumbling-Bear sends a laser into the back of the net. That makes it 4-0 Aggies at that point. Second half, same score, Aggies threatening again. A little chip over the top, but Lady Norse goalkeeper Jayla Lucas there to scoop it up. No further harm. Later on, more trouble though. Lily Humes weaves her way through defenders. That sets things up for her teammate Amy Steele. Another goal for the Aggies. Lady Norse don't get a shot on goal in the second half. They end up falling 6-0. Golden Norsemen trying to avenge the women's team's loss, led by National Goalkeeper of the Week David Day Marzoli. He gets tested right away on a corner kick, redirected in front of cage, but makes the stop, then has some words for the Aggies afterwards. Still 0-0. Murray State threatening to score here. A nice lead pass, but Luis Alvarado able to win that one away. Great defensive stop. Keeps it at 0-0. 25 minutes in, chance for NEO and a free kick. Skied way past the cage though. Another free kick here. Golden Norse maybe getting a chance to get on the board early. Kept alive, and a cross out in front of cage gets taken away by the Aggie keeper. To the final 5 minutes of the half, throw in here, and Joshua Adeyemi breaks the scoreless tie for Murray State. Only goal of the first half. It's 1-0 after 45 minutes of the men's game. Logan Van Way, a graduate of Webb City High School and Missouri Southern, continues to make noise in minor league baseball. He gets called up to AAA within the Astros organization today. Van Way went undrafted in 2022. He hit his innings limit last season with a 3.26 ERA, 62 strikeouts in high A and double A. And Missouri Southern's all-time leader in strikeouts per 9 innings is now just one step away from the majors. Meanwhile, the Royals trying to finish the season on a high note, chance to end their homestand with a sweep against division rival Guardians this afternoon. We picked that one up in the first inning, no score, 2 on for the Royals, and Nelson Velasquez, who's been on a tear recently, crushes Lucas Giolito's pitch to left field and gone. 3-run homer puts the Royals up 3-0. Third inning, Zach Greinke with his 28th start of the year, and Will Brennan hits one deep the other way off him, but Edward Olivares with an incredible leaping catch. We'll show it to you again. Full extension up right against the wall. Robs Brennan the base hit. Still 3-0 Royals, top of the fourth. Same inning, same score. Runners on the corners for the Guardians, and Andres Jimenez hits a single through the hole. Josh Naylor scores. Greinke gets a standing ovation, likely his last home start of the season. He goes 3 2/3, allowing 2 runs. Could be the last start of his career, too. Guardians down 3-1. Bottom of the fourth, Royals up 3-2 at this point. Bobby Witt Jr. single the other way off Giolito. Drew Waters comes in to score, and the Royals go on to win that one 6-2. Back to that local player we were talking about, Logan Van Way, making waves in AAA. What's really most impressive, I think, about him is that he went undrafted in 2022 and still, right after getting into the minor leagues, has shot up the ranks quickly.
That's pretty awesome. And for the Astros, what a team.
I know, yeah.
That's actually my team. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that,
but yeah,
but they've definitely been good lately.
Astros fan for quite a few years. All right, we'll be back with more news after this. Is there life beyond our planet? Medical experts in Mexico are conducting new tests on a pair of remains some researchers say belong to alleged extraterrestrials. This after the bodies generated a strong mixed reaction after they were shown to the Mexican Congress last week. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a look at the latest findings.
This lab in Mexico is the site of a series of out-of-this-world tests as doctors carefully analyze the remains of 2 alleged non-human beings. The small, thin, gray bodies with 3 fingers on each hand resemble what many people consider a stereotypical alien. They were presented to the Mexican Congress last week by a journalist and UFO enthusiast who said the remains were discovered in Peru back in 2017. He also claims a past radiocarbon test shows the bodies are up to 1,800 years old.
It's the queen of all evidence. If the DNA is showing us that they are not human beings and that there's nothing that looks like this in the world, we should take it as such.
Peruvian officials previously said the objects were nothing more than man-made dolls covered with paper and glue. But now, new X-ray scans are revealing closer details about what's actually inside.
In the 3 studies, we tried to see the structure of the skeleton of these bodies, and we were able to determine that it does indeed belong to a single skeleton that has not been joined to other pieces.
The bodies don't have teeth, but researchers say one of them appears to have what could be eggs in its abdomen. Their existence has triggered controversy across the scientific community, with many people still not convinced they're real and calling for more tests. Meanwhile, doctors say these recent scans show
there is no evidence of any assembly or manipulation of the skull.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
Interesting. Coming up, how a group of friends in Tennessee took over and helped guests at a hotel with no one on staff. A fun trip to Nashville turned into a work trip for a group of friends. The trio arrived to their hotel and found that no one was working there. With the phones ringing off the hook, they decided to take over and run the hotel themselves. Brendan Tierney has the story.
Welcome to the Quintet. Kenzie and her friends Aaron and Narain stepped in when they couldn't find anyone working overnight at this airport La Quinta.
God, not the phone again.
Helping people with their problems.
We don't actually charge you.
And even serving breakfast to other guests in the morning.
You got to do what you got to do in these struggling times.
The friends from Atlanta told the hotel they were checking in late after a concert for Aaron's birthday. But when they got there,
we took a second. We all just looked at each other and we were like, what the hell?
What made you guys want to get behind the counter and help out?
When you walk into something and you see it not going so well, you have to fix it. I mean, it's just in our blood.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing for the group of bar and restaurant managers.
We need milk, Aaron.
Struggling to keep the buffet stocked and fix people's room bills.
She was just like, how can you help me? How can you help me? And I was like, I can't. I don't work here.
So they were relieved when a manager from another hotel showed up and was finally able to get them checked into a room. A spokesperson for the hotel says their overnight shift employee left early without telling anyone. They've been fired. Management is now working to make the situation right for impacted guests. The group says they had a great time helping others.
Just answering the calls and understanding what these customers are saying, it was just hysterical.
And they've actually had experience with this before.
We've been to bars where there was nobody behind the bar and we've been bartenders. So we stepped back there and worked the bar, and the same with Waffle Houses.
They're certainly hoping, though, that this is the last time.
Well, their efforts didn't go unrewarded. The misunderstanding led to a free room at the Holiday Inn. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with video of a baby red panda at a zoo in Greece. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.